Are you ready? Here we go. Dave Fleming, Miles Simon from Fog Allen Fieldhouse on senior night. West Virginia without two of their very best players, starting five for the Mountaineers as Wayne Selden launches a quick shot. Juwan State and Gary Brown are not playing, both out due to injury, so a very tough task for the Mountaineers, who beat Kansas just a couple weeks ago. Meanwhile, for the Jayhawks, Christian Garrett, number 15, the only senior in this Kansas program, making his first and only career start here tonight. And what an atmosphere.
Yeah, and they did it the right way for the senior Christian Garrett, getting introduced last. He gets his parents on the floor, and West Virginia goes right at it down low in the low post as they score.
So for the moment, Allen has quieted down just a little bit. It was rocking inside this historic building. And we see for the first time that pressure. Frank Mason almost turns it over. Now the Jayhawks with an advantage. Perry Ellis, who has been on fire, first bucket of the night.
Well, excellent job by Frank Mason, drawing the double team, stepping around it, finding the flashing Jayhawk, and then they attack the pressure in the half court.
So 1 minute in on senior night, Kansas, of course, has clinched a share of its 11th straight Big 12 title. They're looking for the title outright. And here is Garrett, that senior, who was fouled by West Virginia in the open court. His mom and dad from California are here and enjoying every second of it.
Christian Garrett, a young man that I got to see in the Los Angeles area as he spent most of his prep career at Campbell Hall High School, then Stone Ridge Prep, before going to IMG Academy in Florida for his last year.
He's a walk-on in this program. It has been a valuable part of Kansas's tradition here. Ellis denied by Holton, out of bounds. Kansas keeps the ball.
And right there, when you see Perry Ellis slipping to the basket, that's something that Coach Bill Self and the team worked on a ton yesterday, because West Virginia is going to blitz those ball screens double hard, so they're trying to slip out and get some easy lay-ins.
We did see both Juwan Staten and Gary Brown on the bench in sweats. West Virginia will miss two of their very best players. Juwan Staten, of course, the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year.
They really will miss those guys, but what's different about Bob Huggins' team this year is that they have a ton of depth. They have 13 guys that he can go to on the bench. They'll play 11 tonight with those two out.
Just not a lot of them who have ever played here at Allen. Devin Williams, though, a nice aggressive move. And the big man, the sophomore, will go to the free throw line. There is Bob Huggins, who knows this is not going to be easy without State, without Brown, but feels like with his pressure defense, his team is up to the task.
Well, what an excellent job Bob Huggins has done turning this program around quick. They struggled last year, and he told us last year, I remember we were doing a Baylor game in Waco, as Christian Garrett exits the game and Kelly Oubre comes in, and a standing ovation for the senior.
Yep, mom is thrilled.
But Bob Huggins told us his team this year would be much more physical, will attack, will be deeper, and they've done all those things and have gotten to the upper half of the Big 12. And I think they'll be a dangerous team come NCAA tournament time with this style of play that they enforce on you.
Well, you can see a look of disgust. Bob Huggins watches Jonathan Holton, who's a very talented player, commit another foul. That has been, in a lot of ways, the story of his season. Pressure from the Mountaineers. Mason against the press. Finds Ellis, who dribbled away from the defense and missed the easy look.
But that's a good look. Great job by Mason attacking the pressure. Perry Ellis was free for a 2 or 3 footer, something that he's been capitalizing on a ton as of late.
Baxter Miles, freshman, too strong, long rebound. 2 West Virginia Mountaineers were there. They knocked each other over. So it's Kansas basketball.
In the first matchup, when West Virginia pulled the upset on the last second lay-in by Juwan Staten, the pressure really got to the Jayhawks early in that basketball game. They had 6 turnovers within the first 10 minutes. They got down 19-8. Wayne Selden had 3 of those turnovers.
5-second call. I think a pretty quick whistle there from Kelly Self. No relation to Bill, head coach at Kansas. But there is a turnover.
Well, Holton does such a great job on the basketball. When we were at practice last week when we were covering West Virginia, Texas, Holton is always trying to distract the inbounder by counting. He's jumping. He's an excellent athlete, and he has long arms.
How about a taste of their own medicine? Not a good pass. And the turnover leads to free throws. Javon Carter, the freshman, they need a lot from Carter tonight, commits the foul.
How about the year that Frank Mason III has had? Ton of point guard problems for this Kansas program last year. Frank Mason has really just taken this team under his wing, been a great leader. He's been totally dependable. He had a 21-game streak of 10 points or more. Only one of 4 Jayhawks to ever do that. I mean, you think of the great players that have come through this program: Danny Manning, Nick Collison, Wayne Simeon, Paul Pierce, Rafe LaFrentz. The only other guys to have streaks of 21 games or more of 10 points are Thomas Robinson, Marcus Morris, and Wayne Simeon. And Frank Mason has really grown up quick.
He makes both free throws. You can't help but think of all that history when you come to Allen, look up in the rafters, see the championship banners, the retired numbers. And this is the final home game of 2015 for Kansas, looking to win the conference title outright. Evan Williams on the perimeter being hounded by Jamari Traylor.
Good pressure defense against this 5-out motion that West Virginia likes to run.
Williams going to the basket again. Devin Williams scores off the glass.
Devin Williams having a solid sophomore season, nearly 11 points per game, leading rebounder at 8 rebounds per game. He's had 7 double-doubles, but I think his back-to-the-basket game is what has improved most from his freshman to sophomore year.
Mason picks up his dribble, which can be a real dangerous thing against the Mountaineers. Kelly Oubre, who subbed in for the senior Garrett, and Oubre, the freshman, has really played well.
He has. In January and February, once league play came, Kelly Oubre slowly but surely started to figure it out, let the game come to him. He's been an excellent defender, shooting the ball at a high level.
Well, Jonathan Holton putting the ball on the floor. That's a nice move.
And that's really a bonus. They're getting early offense with Staten, their leading scorer, out of the game.
Traylor, not a great offensive player, a role player for this Kansas team.
Well, they need big minutes from Jamari Traylor and some more production with Cliff Alexander being out of the lineup.
That was good defense by Holton to defend and not commit the foul. Now a whistle, and I think Adrian's going to be called for the personal. Bob Huggins doesn't agree with that. There is Cliff Alexander, the freshman. This is the second game in a row where Alexander will not play.
Yeah, and there's no timetable for his return as he's under some NCAA investigation.
The NCAA alerted Kansas of a potential issue. The school, Alexander, his family has got an attorney. They're all looking into it. But just as a precaution, they don't want to play a player who they think possibly is ineligible, so he's sitting out.
And from watching practice yesterday, Cliff Alexander still very involved in this team, practiced hard, mostly with the scout team. But he's staying ready for if the number is called and there's something that can get him back on the court.
Good play by Frank Mason, knocked the ball away from behind. It'll stay West Virginia ball. And give the Mountaineers this, without their senior leaders in the backcourt, they have survived the first couple minutes, which sometimes in this building, no Staten, no Brown, so far okay for the Mountaineers.
Well, it's a very confident group, this West Virginia team, and they're not going to fear anybody. They're not intimidated so far by the atmosphere in here. And they've come out and just kind of played their type of basketball, aggressive, physical, pressing, trapping.
We're starting to see some of that depth as Bob Huggins uses his bench. Phillip in, Macon in, Page in. That's Macon one dribble in the lane and scores.
Nice job of flashing from the weak side by Elijah Macon, and Holton making the nice pass off the penetration.
Oubre dribbled it up himself, then slipped, falls down. Arrow will favor West Virginia after the jump ball, and so the Mountaineers will have it with a 2-point lead when we come back to senior night here at Kansas.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by...
We're going to knock off this Jayhawk team and end that streak. Maybe the talent level is not as great in this Kansas team this year, but I think they've shown some toughness. They've shown some resiliency. They got blown out earlier in the year against Kentucky, but when all said and done in the last week of the Big 12, the Jayhawks have clinched at least a share of the title and can win it outright with a victory tonight.
Now West Virginia is still hoping for an upset here on the road. And if the Mountaineers can pull that off, their hopes for sharing a part of the Big 12 title would still be alive. Elijah Macon being aggressive off the bench for Bob Huggins.
Well, Bill Self can't be happy with the defense right now by the Jayhawks. West Virginia getting anything and everything they want, mostly in the paint area, just attacking, whether it be a big or a guard.
And their signature, West Virginia's signature all year long, this pressure defense, trapping, full court, half court. They'll do it anytime.
And you see now 2 point guards in the game, Graham and Frank Mason for the Jayhawks.
Graham, nice pass to Oubre, missed the three, and the ball is going to be tipped out of bounds off of Kansas. Short rest for Perry Ellis, who jumps back off the bench and will come back in the game. And meanwhile, West Virginia, part of what Bob Huggins does, he uses his depth, Miles, but he also tries to keep everybody as fresh as possible so that the intensity on that pressure defense never lets up.
Yeah, it's really a relentless type of pressure that West Virginia employs. It's for nearly almost 40 minutes. They will mix it up, as we saw last week against Texas when Texas started to hurt the pressure with Isaiah Taylor and Yancey and DeMarcus Holland, that he did go to some zone. But these guys play hard. They're very coachable. He said they bring great effort every day into practice.
You know, they're not a real good shooting team, but they've made their last 4 from the field here early in this one. They're 5 of 6 shooting overall. That's a formula for success. If West Virginia makes shots, they're almost unbeatable. Shot clock starting to wind down here. Carter, I think, realizes it. Tough contested three, but Page grabs the offensive rebound.
And that's something that West Virginia excels at. 17 offensive rebounds per game, leads the nation. 15 second chance points per game.
Traylor commits the blocking foul. Now West Virginia is still the #1 offensive rebounding team in the country by total offensive rebounds. #1 in the country in steals. Turnovers 4, second in turnover margin.
And what's amazing, West Virginia has never led the NCAA in a statistical category at the end of the season, but I think they'll end up leading in 3 at the end of this one.
By any measure, it's been a remarkable year for the Mountaineers.
And really, it kind of goes back to this summer when Bob Huggins decided that he could press and he had the depth, and there the knockdown three-point shot by Jayhawks Page, the junior college transfer from Moberly Area Community College.
Well, West Virginia came ready to play here tonight. And this would be a monumental upset if they were to pull it off. A long, long way to go. But a 9-0 run for the Mountaineers without 2 of their best players, maybe their 2 best.
Jayhawks Page, a guy who averaged 21 points per game in JUCO. Slow closeout by Frank Mason. The hand was down. It got up too late, and Page makes him pay.
Dexter Miles hit some big shots on the road at Baylor. It was a loss for the Mountaineers, and they basically didn't play with State nor Brown for that game either. West Virginia would sweep Kansas in the regular season and have a chance to share the Big 12 regular season title. Kansas can clinch it outright with a victory here tonight. Good defense by Adrian denying Ellis, but the ball ricocheted to Mason. Wayne Selden for 3. Rebound Page.
Well, in these last 2 deflections, the one where they tried to enter to Wayne Selden, he did a poor job of creating a lead. And then Perry Ellis, there wasn't an angle there to make that post-entry pass, and they ended up settling for a contested 3 by Selden.
Here's Graham for 3. Rebound, tapped around, controlled by Phillip. And West Virginia on the attack. Nice pass to Miles, who finishes. And Bill Self wants a timeout. No Juwan Staten, no Gary Brown. So far, so what for West Virginia? This is an 11-0 run.
And the Mountaineers have just been the tougher, more physical team, getting out in transition. Phillip leading the way, and the sweet dime. Mountaineers up early.
On senior night at Allen Fieldhouse, have a 15-6 lead. And out of the timeout, they get to set up the full court pressure.
And they're doing it on the offensive end against the #1 field goal percentage team defensively in the Kansas Jayhawks in the Big 12.
Selden trapped, tries to split that trap, has it knocked away. Stolen by Carter. Carter challenged, the tip up, no good, and now a foul against Kansas. And for some reason, they're not calling that a shooting foul. Looked to me like Macon was trying to tip the ball in.
Yeah, there was nothing else that he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to bring it down. He was trying to go back up for the shot there.
Well, Traylor just picked up his second personal. Remember, no Cliff Alexander tonight, so that's already some problems on the front line for Kansas. Meanwhile, West Virginia missed a chance for an easy bucket, but they keep the ball.
Well, West Virginia is dictating the pace, the tempo, how physical the game is. They had active hands right there as Selden tried to split and make a pass.
And I still don't understand how that was not a shooting foul, but it wasn't. Sviatoslav Mikhailuk, who doesn't play big minutes, off the bench for Coach Self. Graham, Oubre sitting down, Selden sitting down, Traylor on the bench. Phillip down low, nice pass, and Holton uses the shot fake and then missed the layup, but tipped his own miss in.
No body on Holton. They missed the first shot. Kansas can't clean up. And look
Carter
at this.
just steals it right away from Brandon Green. Miles passes up the three. So does Carter. A whistle away from the ball. And a 3-second violation called on Holton.
And you know what? That's not Holton's fault because Daxter Miles and Javon Carter both passed up open looks. Holton is taught by the West Virginia staff to get to the offensive glass, to get opposite of where the ball is shot, and he was waiting for that ball to be released.
I think you're right about that. Holton, he is so talented. You're already seeing it in these first 8 minutes, but if he can stay on the court, man, he is a difference maker. You don't want to see him rushing after you if you've got the ball and he's coming to trap.
Well, he's the catalyst for this press because he gets deflections at the front of the press. He can chase down nearly any guard because he's one of the best athletes in the conference.
Out of bounds off of Kansas, and what a start for the Mountaineers. A long way from home in a very hostile environment, but Bob Huggins pleased with his start. 17-6.
Went 8 on 5 in their practices, but they lost, and we'll see if 7 on 5 is a magic number, kind of the rubber match, I guess, to see what's going to be the number that works as far as practice goes.
What's the sweet spot? How many guys do you have to put on the floor to correctly simulate this pressure from the Mountaineers, who have the ball, leading 17-6?
Well, right now, the Kansas is just having trouble handling the 5 that West Virginia puts on the floor. 5 turnovers here in the first 8 minutes.
6 points, 5 turnovers. Williams got himself in the air. Hunter Mickelson, another guy who doesn't play big minutes, off the bench, tapped the rebound to Mason.
And this game is just eerily similar to what happened in Morgantown. The turnovers early for the Jayhawks. West Virginia builds a double-figure lead.
How about Phillips saving it inbounds, and Phillip stepped on the line and came back in to touch the ball. So a near steal, a near breakaway, but West Virginia couldn't quite get it.
And I talked about it earlier. West Virginia, once they get in the half court, they play on the line, up the line defense. That means they're in a full denial. They almost get like a full man or man and a half off so they can play the passing lanes. You can go back door against them, or you really need to step into your man and create a lead. Oubre didn't do it there, and then Frank Mason kind of threw too soft of a pass.
Well, you can hear the fans. This place is packed, as it always is, with some real nervous energy. But the way this one is going for Kansas so far, and Perry Ellis hadn't been much involved. Mason almost lost it, and in fact, Kansas does lose it. Well, that's really almost an unforced turnover.
And Bill Self is having a tremendously short leash with almost anybody and everybody on this Kansas team right now. You see Frank Mason loses the basketball. Devontae Graham, the freshman, gets called in right away.
So now that ratio, more turnovers than points. 7 Kansas turnovers, 6 points in the first 9 minutes. Oubre steals it away from Phillip, who commits a foul.
Oubre with those long arms, 7'1" wingspan, shooting nearly 40% from the 3. Has kind of found his niche. He's an excellent rebounder, coming off a good game. When Alexander got suspended, they needed somebody to step up on the defensive glass against a Texas team that has an imposing front line. Oubre goes for 15 and 9 last Saturday.
Looking for a basket. Kansas, it's been a long time since they scored from the field. Getting close to 7 minutes now.
You know what? And this pressure just kind of wears on you. You can get frustrated. You just have someone kind of in your face at all times, and you can feel their bodies.
Williams passed up the long 2, now getting it closer to the basket. That's a tough move, but then he missed the shot. And Perry Ellis fouled by Nathan Adrian. Well, part of that is the foul. Another part of that is just make the shot.
But you know what? That actually ends up being a good foul by Nathan Adrian because Kansas was actually going to have numbers there. And I know it's sending Ellis to the line, but they did stop a break opportunity.
Yeah, that's the problem is 10 minutes still to go plus in the first half, and Kansas is already shooting free throws. And that has been the story for West Virginia in so many ways.
Dave, how about the play? How about the play of this guy, Perry Ellis?
Yeah, tremendous of late. Making a late push to be the conference player of the year.
He is. Over his last 3 games, averaging 25 and 9, shooting 59% from the field. He was very quiet and almost unnoticed the first couple months of the season. And when we talked to him today at practice, he said he just started watching more tape of himself, knowing what he needed to improve on both ends of the floor. He had to be more aggressive and be a more importantly, a leader for this team.
That's a jump ball. Kansas with some tough defense there will get the ball back.
And I think Perry Ellis really gets labeled, and it's unfair that he gets labeled a little bit soft, but I think he just has a quiet killer mentality, and we've seen it through most of this Big 12 season, and he's really pumped it up in the month of February.
Yeah, he got some star power in this league, but he may well, with some of these recent performances, have won himself a Conference Player of the Year award. Selden rather, on the inbound with a bad pass. Now a wild 3, saved inbounds, but saved to Graham. Here's Mickelson, who never dribbled, and it's a blocking foul.
Jayhawk fans are looking to get on their feet and for something to cheer for. Graham really put Mickelson in a bad situation. Mickelson not comfortable catching at the three-point line. Luckily, he didn't have to dribble and was able to draw the blocking foul.
The 2 shots for Hunter Mickelson, the junior. Getting some playing time in the first half. Makes the first. NBA on Wednesday presented by State Farm at 7:30. We've got Kia NBA Countdown. At 8, it's the Lakers and the Heat, 10:30 Eastern. The Trailblazers and the Clippers. Hey, a couple NBA guys here in the house tonight. A couple of Hall of Famers. Chris Mullin, Mitch Richmond.
2/3 of Run TMC.
Where's Tim Hardaway?
One of the best backcourts in all of the NBA ever.
Well, the Jayhawks starting to chip away. It's a 7-point lead. Some foul trouble for the Mountaineers. That's a nice pass from Williams, and then Mickelson fouls Page, who will go to the free throw line.
And that's really too easy, and that's poor defense by Oubre. That was just a straight back cut. Oubre was out of a stance right there. The perfect pass. And Bill Self, he let Oubre know about it as soon as it happened. He's telling him to give more effort. You got to at least try.
Now Jayshawn Page at the free throw line. Mountaineers are not a good free throw shooting team. Page rattles out. They've shot 3 of them, and they haven't made one yet tonight.
Page was really a good late pickup. As I said, Moberly Area Community College, they needed a 3-point shooter. Page had originally signed with Southern Miss, but there was a coaching change and then an open scholarship when Henderson left the West Virginia program late.
Holton, offensive rebound, put back, goes in. And Williams did a good job there not to interfere with it on the offensive side. Kept his hand away. Mason weaving his way through trouble, still in trouble.
Ellis needs to flash to the ball at the high post, and they would have had numbers.
How about Mason right to the basket, then he missed the shot. Page, open 3. Ball knocked around, it comes right back to Page. Page blocked by Mickelson.
Holton just wants the basketball more than any of the other Jayhawks. Hunter Mickelson bails him out. He set an Arkansas freshman record with 72 blocks. Giving him some good energy here in the minutes that he's played.
I mean, a guy who has not played much this year for Kansas, but he's been a spark. 8.5 to go, first half, or almost 9 to go still. 9-point lead for the Mountaineers. Phillip in between the legs with the dribble. Nice pass to Miles, who hits the 3. And Miles talking a little bit with Devontae Graham. Another timeout for Bill Self. So Kansas makes that push. It gets loud inside Allen, and the Mountaineers respond with some hustle effort
He talked about this to us last week, that he feels West Virginia can be very dangerous because it's such a unique style of play. They throw 12 or 13 bodies at you every game. Juwan Staten is a guy that can go off for 25 or 30. And he also feels in the NCAA tournament, the officials let the game get a little bit more physical, which is advantage Mountaineers.
And look at that stretch. Ellis, dangerous pass. Saved it inbounds. Mickelson scores. That's the first field goal in over 8 minutes for the Jayhawks. Who else? Hunter Mickelson. There's a foul. Phillip attacks right down the heart of the defense.
Well, a straight line drive given up by Frank Mason there. You got to be able to contain your man from 35 feet away from the basket. Poor job of moving his feet by Frank Mason.
And I guarantee you, look, the offense has been ugly. Too many turnovers. I guarantee you it's the defense that's bothering Bill Self the most right now. So Phillip at the line. West Virginia needs to, at some point, make a free throw. There's one. Two big games on Saturday. Our Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. First at noon, Michigan State, Indiana. And Indiana looks like it really needs a win. And then these Jayhawks on the road. It'll be rocking at the Noble Center in Norman. Kansas, Oklahoma, 4 Eastern on ESPN on Saturday. Both free throws good from Phillip. Brandon Watkins comes in, one of the guys who has actually played some minutes on this court. Jonathan Holton talking to his head coach. He has been a difference maker, though, in this first half. Mason trying to attack against pressure. Bad pass from Graham. Watkins, nice play. Miles, wild lead, blocking foul call. Miles was a little out of control, but they call the block. And now Bill Self is not happy.
Well, on the other end of the floor, Devontae Graham, he missed the open guy because he saw it just a split second too late. And here's the hard drive. Graham right there, probably sliding at the last second.
Yeah, I think it's a good call.
Yeah, I think it was a good call.
So Dexter Miles at the free throw line.
Coach Huggins really raves about his freshman guards, Javon Carter and Dexter Miles Jr. Both tough guys, great at anticipating on the defensive end. Both can shoot the three well enough, keep you honest, put the ball on the floor. Bright future for the Mountaineers.
3 of 8. That's West Virginia's free throw shooting so far, and yet it hasn't mattered. They're up 13.
I wonder at some point if Coach Bill Self is going to go small.
Page just stole the ball right away from Ellis. What a play by Jayshawn Page.
Just to have it go small because you can get another ball handler out there, take Ellis or Mickelson out of the game and maybe put Kelly Oubre or Brandon Green at the 4 spot. And then you get a ball handler and a couple more shooters in the game.
Not a great pass from Page. Here's Graham in the open court drawing a foul. So Kansas will be at the free throw line when we come back. And when we come back, we'll get you an update of that pursuit of perfection for the Kentucky Wildcats after this.
It's time to take command. Chris Connor in studio. An update on Kentucky's pursuit of perfection there in Athens tonight, taking on the Bulldogs of Stegman. That's Nemanja Jurisic. 7 points already for the senior from Montenegro, giving Georgia the lead, but off the turnover. You're going to see at least one of these every Kentucky game. Willie Cauley-Stein with the alley-oop. Close between Georgia and Kentucky right now. Kentucky leading by 3 over on ESPN. Meanwhile, Creighton and Villanova, the Cats can't throw it in the ocean at CenturyLink right now, trailing by 6. Dave?
All right, Chris, thank you very much. And we also get a chance to remind you more great college hoops coming up on Saturday, 6:30 Eastern in the ACC, Virginia and Louisville. And then the nightcap at 9 Eastern, where we get a game as good as the first matchup, Duke, Carolina, on Saturday night. Primetime, presented by DirecTV. Devontae Graham out of the timeout at the free throw line for Kansas. And he misses the first. So shots not going in for the Jayhawks, down 13 at home.
Yeah, and they just can't find any answers on the offensive end. They're 0 for 5 from behind the arc. They're the best three-point shooting team in the conference. 10 turnovers, but most importantly, they've given up 10 offensive rebounds, which has led to 10 second-chance points for the Mountaineers.
Of course, if you're a fan of the Big 12 and you were watching last night on Big Monday at the Hilton Coliseum in Ames, in this league, lead's not safe, so we got a long way to go.
Yeah, Iowa State able to come back from 20 down in the second half. Went on an incredible run there.
Here's Miles for three. Dexter Miles having a big first half.
And it's almost as if the Jayhawks have now given West Virginia too much confidence because the offense is flowing. They feel that they're free on the offensive end, knocking down shots from behind the arc.
Well, Miles has 11. That's exactly what West Virginia needs without Juwan State, without Gary Brown. Tough pass to Mason up top. Devontae Graham, shot clock starting to wind down. Oubre to Mickelson, right back to Oubre, and he dunks it right on top of Macon. Whoa!
What a give and go. Mickelson to Oubre, and Oubre with the two-hand flush.
Man, maybe that'll be a spark for the Jayhawks. That was impressive. Tough shot, no good. Rebound Mickelson, who almost traveled. Here comes Mason on the attack. Might have gotten away with a little push off. Macon saves it in bounds. A technical foul has been called against Brandon Watkins. My goodness. Well, West Virginia had the ball. They were going the other way.
Well, Watkins made a heck of a play with the block shot.
So it must be something verbal.
Bob Huggins is very upset. You see Mason with the little push-off, Watkins with the incredible block. Wow. A little bit of a stare down right there.
Man. You can't call that, can you? I don't think he said a word. He stared at him for a second.
Dave, you and I talked about it earlier. We did the Oklahoma State KU game here earlier in the season, and Cliff Alexander had a monster dunk over Anthony Lee of Oklahoma State. And he did a little flex action that he got called a technical for. Let's go back to last night's game in Ames. Isaiah Cousins gets a technical with his team up 20. Gave 2 points and almost like started that run for the Cyclones. So you don't know, this could be some type of turning point as Mason misses the free throw. But now they get the ball back after scoring. Maybe a momentum builder after the dunk for the Jayhawks.
He stared him down. He did. You're not really supposed to do that. But how sensitive are we going to be?
You got to let the kids play a little bit.
Come on. Well, 6:15 to go. West Virginia does get the ball. It cost them a point, basically. They had the ball, had possession when the technical was called. Jayhawks Page back in the game. That's a foul against Kansas on the floor. How about the dunk from a moment ago, Oubre?
Well, this was impressive. Great cut right off the post feed. Up 2 feet and strong over Elijah Macon. Kelly Oubre showing that elite athleticism.
That was big time. Oubre will take a seat on the bench. He's got 2 fouls. And now West Virginia in the bonus, so it's 1-1 for Jayhawks Page. Page earns the second free throw. Well, Page's numbers are pretty modest, and he doesn't play big minutes, part of that deep rotation for Bob Huggins. But he can score in bunches. He's a good man. Look at Holton again. Ricochet to Page. Holton keeps it alive, out of bounds, off of Kansas. Right now, Jonathan Holton is outworking everybody.
It's unreal how relentless they are on the offensive glass. It's anywhere from 3 to 4 guys on the glass on every possession. Holton just in the middle of 3. Jayhawks stays with it. Page comes back, keeps the ball alive once again, and they retain possession.
Miles misses the quick 3 off the inbound. Mason back up top to Graham. See if they try to get Perry Ellis involved.
Ball stayed on one side of the floor too long. Defense is locked in.
Shot clock already down to 10. Here comes Mason. Goes right by Phillip. Mason scores.
That's just a guy making a play right there because the offense was stagnant. West Virginia doing an excellent job in the half court of taking the Jayhawks out of what they want to do.
Phillip, who doesn't shoot many of those, hits a three.
Only his 4th three-point make of the year, but at junior college, he was a 38% three-point shooter, so more than capable.
I'll tell you what, Frank Mason is getting away with some stuff for Canada. That's the 3rd time in the last minute or so I've seen him use that forearm and push off a little bit. I think Bob Huggins is chewing on the officials right now. Here's Graham with some contact. No whistle. Scores anyway.
Excellent job the last 2 possessions by Graham and Mason to relieve the pressure, beating him off the bounce. And right now I can see in Graham and Mason, they're about 20 feet away from me. They're breathing hard. They're a little bit winded because they're having to work so much to get open in the full court, and then in the half court also have to make plays.
Phillip, Mason helped force a miss. Well, that was a good chance for the Mountaineers. Here comes Kansas. That's a whistle and a foul.
And look how hard they have to work.
And that is number 3 against Jayshawn Page.
Dave, look at all the Jayhawk players. All of them on their knees. Look how tired they are. All 5 players right now currently on their knees.
Yeah, a couple of them haven't even played big minutes in this first half. That's how exhausting it is against the pressure defense of West Virginia. Double bonus for Graham. And makes the first.
Devontae Graham, really a nice pickup for Bill Self's squad. Young man from Raleigh, North Carolina. Finished his career at Brewster Academy, where he won a prep national championship under Jason Smith.
And we do need to just re-emphasize that was foul number 3 against Page. So 3 fouls in the first half. He goes to the bench. Mason maybe to get a blow, sort of what you were talking about. He goes to the bench for Kansas. And the Jayhawks have the lead down to 10. Williams, the big man, shoots a jumper. Holton keeps it alive. Another offensive rebound for Jonathan Holton, who then lets the defense sort of clear out, finds his teammate, draws a foul. Jonathan Holton is just playing a heck of a first half. The Mountaineers here at Allen leading by 10.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66.
In the NCAA tournament, you look at the Texas Tech-Oklahoma State game. The first night, Texas Tech has beaten Oklahoma State already this year.
Out of the timeout, Devin Williams hits the free throw for the Mountaineers, who are playing without Jawan Staten, the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, without Gary Brown, their only other senior alongside Staten, both on the bench there. And yet West Virginia has played a beautiful first half, up 34-22.
And watch, they're going to fall back into zone defense right now. A little bit of a change. Kansas needs to look to try to get some three-point shots. They're going to run a little baseline runner.
Well, you were talking about the fatigue, Miles, and you do start to wonder. I mean, Devontae Graham just dribbled the ball off his foot out of bounds. Now, I know they just had a breather on the bench for the timeout, but Graham's going to come out of the game. Mason back in. You see those kind of mistakes against West Virginia.
And then you see the teaching points as Bill Self is walking his young freshman down to the bench right there and telling him what he needs to do to get the guys involved and run the offense.
Another teaching point. Don't dribble the ball out of your foot out of bounds, son.
That's probably the best, best of them all. And I'm sure he said it in some different type of words.
I think so. Brandon Green back in. He has not been a big factor these last few games for Kansas. One of the best pure shooters in the country, really. Miles Dexter. Miles, talk about a factor. That's a long 2 for the freshman.
And that's just one-on-one, beating Wayne Selden. Selden did an excellent job of moving his feet and contesting. Miles just hit a tougher shot.
So it's his first ever game here at Allen on senior night for the Jayhawks. In the first half, he's matched his career high. He's got 13. Green almost lost the ball. Now Devin Williams, something happened to Williams, who's really hurting with his right hand. Green in the corner, too strong, and Holton finds a way to tip the ball to himself.
Devin Williams, he's really hurting.
And West Virginia's going to call a timeout. Now the Mountaineers are already without State. They're already without Brown. And Williams, I think, is going to come out of this game. At some point, they're going to lose too many bodies, but they'll hope that Williams is okay.
Hopefully maybe it's just a funny bone or something like that and get the feeling back in that hand. He's kind of shaking his wrist as he's walking off the floor there. Devin Williams, as tough as they come, their second leading scorer and leading rebounder on this team.
Nice inbound play, Phillip, and a whistle. What's the foul call?
And Perry Ellis just got his knee rolled up on.
Uh-oh. So Ellis, talk about bad news upon bad news. Jayhawks fans can all hold their breath right now.
And there's Perry Ellis going down, and Landon Lucas is going to roll right into that knee.
Ow.
And you see that knee bend.
Well, he's putting pressure on it right now, but gosh, that is scary.
It's like a lineman getting rolled up on in pass protection.
I mean, you see that, you can just hope. And for one of the true good guys, hard workers, and excellent players, not only on Kansas's team, but in the country.
First team all academic Big 12 just got named the other day.
Well, that would be a crusher for the Jayhawks. First free throw good from Phillip.
And look at this lineup that the Jayhawks are rolling out right now. I can't imagine that this unit has played even a minute together this year. Mikhailuk, Mickelson, Lucas, Mason, and Selden.
You don't have Ellis now for at least the next couple minutes, you would assume. West Virginia has out-rebounded the Jayhawks by 15. They have more offensive rebounds than Kansas has total rebounds. Well, this is Kansas. The Jayhawks are back up by 16. It was a 10-point lead just a couple minutes ago. This is their biggest advantage of the first half.
In these two possessions of zones, Kansas has yet to get the ball inside the three-point arc.
They still haven't done it.
Somebody has to put it on the floor or they have to flash to the middle.
Mason will get it inside the arc for about one dribble. Selden tried to sell the call, I think. Didn't get the whistle.
What about the changeup that Bob Huggins throws out? The press has been effective for nearly the whole half. Comes out of a timeout, goes two possessions of zone, gets two stops.
And this has been the best three-point shooting team in the conference, Kansas. They are 0 for 7 in the first half. Macon had the ball go through his legs. Here's Phillip to the basket, had his shot blocked, sticks it back in. Another offensive rebound, and Bill Self is using another timeout. He's got 2 left for the game. We're still here in the first half, and I think Self is just stunned. Disbelief right now.
Well, West Virginia, I mean, they are just taking it to Kansas. It's almost as if Kansas, because Gary Brown and Juwan Staten were out of this game, they just figured we're just going to roll right over this Mountaineer team. But West Virginia by far has been the tougher, mentally, more physical team. They've wanted this basketball game more.
I mean, when in Bill Self's tenure here at Kansas have you ever seen a number like that? 14 offensive rebounds in a half against his team. The Jayhawks have won, and their star, Perry Ellis, is headed to the locker room sort of limping that way.
And this is probably about my 9th or 10th game I've done in Fog Allen. This is the quietest that I've ever heard this place.
They're just stunned like the head coach is. Dave Fleming, Miles Simon, 40-22. West Virginia is playing without its starting backcourt. Their 2 senior leaders in the backcourt are hurt and out.
And you know what? At halftime, it's not even going to be an X and O adjustment. It's going to be a toughness adjustment. And how bad do you want to play? Do you want to show up today and in front of your fans and not get embarrassed?
Macon got a hand on that one, and it might have gone off of Lucas. I think Lucas thought it was off of him. Lucas started to step the other way. Kansas will keep the ball. But I don't know about that one.
Remember, it was just 32-22 a few minutes ago. 8-0 run now by the Mountaineers.
Just over a minute to go here in the first half. Mason along the baseline. Found Mickelson. Mickelson's been a bright spot.
The true and only bright spot in the first half. Excellent pass by Mason. Good hands by Mickelson to gather and finish.
He's got 6 of their 24. Bob Huggins wants a timeout with 51 seconds to go. That's the timeout. If you don't use it in the first half, you lose it for the second half. So why not talk things over? The Mountaineers up 40-24.
For Saturday, the Big 12 tournament and the NCAA tournament.
Wayne Selden's been quiet in the first half. Mountaineers have 28 seconds on the shot clock. Phillip handling the ball. Carter's got foul trouble himself, so no State, no Brown. Not a lot of minutes from Carter, and Macon loses the ball out of bounds. Now, the turnovers have been a problem for West Virginia. They have 10 of them in the first half. So you're on the road. You've committed 10 turnovers at Allen Fieldhouse, and you're up 16.
Been an amazing effort by the Mountaineers.
There is about a 3.5, almost 4-second difference between game clock and shot clock. I think the Jayhawks are just going to act like they can hold for the final look. Mason to Green, passed up the 3 to attack the bucket. Shot blocked, got it back, out of bounds. Now one official says out of bounds, but another says foul. So that's going to be free throws for Brandon Green, even as Kelly Self got ready to have Kansas just inbound the ball. The official who was right close to the play. And Green is almost automatic at the line. Foul will be charged to Billy D. Williams. Perfect. Brandon Green, he's been quiet, not just tonight, these last couple weeks. At one point, he just could not miss from three-point range. Was looking like the best shooter in the country. Shots have been harder to come by lately. Jace Connor, a walk-on for the Mountaineers, checks into the game. Phillip out. Miles out. Jayhawks have made their free throws. One more for Green. Makes them both. Graham substitutes in for Green. Plenty of time for the Mountaineers to get a good look. Javon Carter uses the screen, pull-up jumper, no good. Rebound Mason. Got a couple of seconds. The full court heave comes up short, and the two teams will go into the locker rooms at halftime with West Virginia on the road with a 40-26 lead. The second largest halftime deficit this season for the Jayhawks. As Bob Huggins and company file off toward the locker room. Coming up next, our Land Rover halftime report. Chris, Seth, Jay, teammates sort of landed on it underneath the basket. Ellis, with a couple minutes to go in the first half, went back to the locker room. He has not yet come back, at least to my eyes. He did not warm up for the start of the second half, so it could well be. We asked, Kansas wouldn't give us any info on Perry Ellis's status, but it could be that they're going to have to play the rest of this game without their star, a guy who could be the Big 12 Conference Player of the Year.
And in his absence, Wayne Selden, Oubre, Traylor, all these Jayhawks are going to have to step up their game to another level, be more physical, match the toughness of this Mountaineer team where they got dominated in the first half.
Nathan Adrian on the court for West Virginia. The Mountaineers have the ball up 40-26. Devin Williams, the big man, into the lane. Devin Williams gets the first 2 of the second half.
It's a nice little play right there. They kind of isolated Devin Williams 17 feet from the basket. He just backs down Jamari Traylor, gets to a comfort zone about 5 feet away, and knocks down the shot.
Traylor, meanwhile, has his pass knocked out of bounds. This is what Miles was referring to.
And here you see Devin Williams going to flash to the high post area, 17 feet, not comfortable really shooting from there, just throws his body around, shields with those big, strong shoulders, and goes to the nice soft shot from about 3 or 4 feet.
This has been a conference where we've seen big-time comebacks. We saw it last night at Hilton. Iowa State roaring back against Oklahoma. But Kansas has a lot of work to do. Wayne Selden gave it up to Traylor at the free throw line. Holton off the tip grabs a rebound.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised in the second half to see Kansas go a little bit of zone. West Virginia, a very poor three-point shooting team. Maybe that can help them get some stops.
Miles cutting toward the basket, lost it out of bounds. Turnover, Mountaineers. Jayhawks have won 32 consecutive home finales. 32 years in a row, they have won their final home game. It's senior night. It's their last home game here tonight. Oubre, the freshman, bricked the three. Had a great look.
Too flat.
Kansas still has not made a three-point bucket. Holton underneath the basket was fouled from behind.
See, and that's too easy right there. Landon Lucas didn't do his work early. He's completely out of the stance. Holton just ducks right in on him, and they're able to get to the high-low entry. And that's something they worked on in the shoot-around today, was denying that entry from post to post. But Landon Lucas has to get down in a stance and be three-quarters in that position.
And Lucas, the primary defender, got beat, but Traylor reached in with the help. He committed his third personal foul. Off the inbound play, Carter got a good look. Rebound, Jayhawks.
See, they got to run, though, in these situations. Oubre, Selden, you guys, they're capable ball handlers.
A whistle and a foul. I think Nathan Adrian's going to be whistled here. That would be his third personal. And indeed it is against Adrian. Adrian will come out. Jayshawn Page, he had 3 fouls called against him in the first half alone. So Page with his 3 fouls into the game.
Page is one of the guys that hurt him on the offensive glass as a guard. He got four offensive rebounds.
Mason picked up his dribble. Good job by Selden to help him out. Wayne Selden, the pass. I'm not sure Oubre was expecting it. Traylor, one dribble, scores.
Mason doing a good job of navigating this pressure against the full court. He dribbled around, got Oubre an open 3. There against the blitz on the pick and roll, able to beat the big guy and then drop it off the Traylor.
I mean, you figure at some point the Jayhawks are going to make a run. But will they be down too big? Will it be too late?
Well, the run is going to start on this end of the floor with getting stops and only holding West Virginia to 1 shot.
Shot clock winding down. Holden's got to get rid of it. He does. Misses the shot. Lucas then had it tipped away from behind and stolen by Page. Now a whistle. And what are they saying? Out of bounds off of the Mountaineers.
And the Jayhawks really caught a break right there. Landon Lucas, he may have gotten fouled. He didn't really chin the ball. Jayshawn Page comes from behind. Page steps out of bounds, or else that was going to be a layup for the Mountaineers.
It also would have been 4 fouls against Page, who almost steals another one away. I mean, even just getting the ball in bounds against West Virginia, not easy. And Page is hurting. And he's limping like he needs to come out of the game. In fact, Page, nobody's come in for him yet. He ran right into that table. And
he's holding his hamstring.
Page, yeah, he did come out of the game.
Someone has to come back and help Mason get the ball to the middle of the floor.
Lucas gets it in the middle. Selden, tip in by Oubre.
Nice pass by Landon Lucas, and an excellent job by Wayne Selden to cut behind the defense.
Phillip, long 3. Rebound, Jayhawks.
One and done. Big difference.
Huge difference in these first 3.5 minutes. And Frank Mason on the attack had it stripped away, then loses it out of bounds, but it's off of West Virginia. So Kansas will keep the ball. Well, remember, the two seniors, the two starters, the leaders for West Virginia are not playing tonight. Gary Brown and, even more importantly, Juwan Staten.
And on the other side of the ball for the Jayhawks, their leader and best player, Perry Ellis, goes down with a knee injury late in the first half.
What a move by Oubre. With the foul, a chance for a three-point play.
Kansas much more stable with the basketball here in the first 4 minutes. Oubre does an excellent job of presenting himself, getting open on the baseline, and then shielding, using the rim as a shield, going to his strong hand, the left hand, for the finish through the contact.
The free throw is good. First time it's been a single-digit lead since 19-10. Holton off the dribble, missed it. Traylor has it. And now maybe Kansas can run. Selden lost it on the way up. He was fouled. Well, it took a while, but Fog Allen is rocking now.
Chris Cotter back in Bristol, Kentucky at Georgia over on ESPN. And Nemanja Jurisic just had himself a heck of a game for the Bulldogs here, wrapping up the first half, getting the bucket to go. He had 14 in the first half, and then here in the second, he continues right where he left off. Getting the bucket right now. It's a 4-point lead, meanwhile, right now for Georgia over on ESPN. Dave, Miles?
So that's interesting, and this one is pretty interesting, too. Kansas on a run to cut the lead to 9.
Well, they've been much more aggressive in the second half on attacking this pressure. In the first half, the times that they broke the press, they were almost content to try to run half-court offense. But you want to continue to go at the rim. This is what the Jayhawks are doing it well, and that's why they've gotten this game down to 9 points with a chance for Wayne Selden to put some more points on the board.
He has not yet scored in this game. He looks like a different player coming out of the locker room at halftime, though, but he still hasn't scored.
Well, he's really struggled as of late. He had a nice streak of double-figure games where he was shooting the ball well, but over his last 4 games, he's been in single digits in each one of them, and he's been 6 for 22 from the field and 1 for 9 from behind the arc.
Misses them both. Ball ricochets to West Virginia. Kansas ramping up the pressure themselves, and Selden steals it away from Holton. 9-0 run. That one was goaltended. So the basket will count. Not a great decision by Lucas.
Dave, this is one thing I love about Wayne Selden. He misses the 2 free throws, but you know what? He doesn't let it affect his game. He gets back on defense. The activity level has picked up, especially from the sophomore Wayne Selden. He gets the steal, the slam, and ignites Fog Allen Fieldhouse. You love a guy that doesn't hang his head, but they're just too far of an angle. Oubre doesn't do a good job of coming back and creating a lead right there, and Selden throws that ball a little bit too hard. Bad communication by the 2 Jayhawks.
Well, the building exploded with the dunk, but the basket on the goaltend, which was not a great play by Lucas, and then the turnover.
But this is 2 different Kansas teams, obviously, from the first half to the second. Defensively, they're much more alert. They're active. They're blocking guys out, making things tougher for the Mountaineers to score, and especially to get an offensive rebound.
Miles tied his career high. Daxter Miles with 13 in the first half. Tariq Phillip cut off. Macon lost it as he put the ball on the floor. So the offense looking a little bit ragged for West Virginia. Now a foul against the Jayhawks away from the ball. That's against Oubre.
And I think he was just trying to set a pick to get his partner Frank Mason open.
Well, that's his third foul, Miles, and Oubre will sit down on the bench. Brandon Green comes in.
With the Jayhawks without a three-point shot, let's see if Brandon Green, who has one of the best pure strokes in all of college basketball, can loosen himself up against this West Virginia defense and knock down a couple treys.
The Jayhawks are struggling. Not just this game, the last few from behind the arc. And they're playing without Cliff Alexander, and now Perry Ellis, who we haven't seen in the second half with a knee injury, playing without their junior star.
It's good post defense by Traylor when they tried to go high-low.
Holton at the free throw line. Shot clock again is winding down. Holton heaves one up. Mason saves it in bounds.
Excellent defensive possession by Jamari Traylor.
Now Green.
Mason has to help him. Green, not a great ball handler.
Mason, open three. Too strong. Went right through the hands of Williams. There's a scramble for it. And the arrow favors the Jayhawks, so Kansas will keep the ball.
Now there's a play you didn't see in the first half from Kansas. Two guys going to the glass, keeping the ball alive, retaining a possession there.
And Devin Williams, he's really compromised. That hand, you see the wrap that wasn't there in the first half. Obviously a thumb or wrist problem, something like that. And when he hit the floor there, he comes up shaking that right hand again. No Brown, no Staten. Devin Williams, their best big man. He's hurting. So Williams is going to come out. Macon will come in. He's shaking the other hand, too. Good grief. Green off the screen. No good. Had a good look.
Great look. Good set call there. Run by Bill Self. Little baseline runner comes through the double screens, but just can't knock it down.
0 for 10. Kansas is from three-point range. Bad entry pass. Kansas could not quite save it in. Good effort. But the Mountaineers keep it. Well, things have definitely changed for the Jayhawks on this end of the floor.
Well, I'm sure there were some words exchanged, mostly from Bill Self to his players in that halftime locker room. They seem to be much more motivated to play basketball in the second half.
13:27 to go. West Virginia still has a 9-point lead. Shot clock at 15. They need Carter's offense.
This is where they really miss Staten. They can put Staten in ball screens. He's their best at creating and getting to the paint.
Baxter Miles misses the three. Mason with the rebound.
They miss Lucas. He had his guy sealed at the rim.
Green, that handoff not executed perfectly. It went off of Carter, though.
Bill Self telling Frank Mason, come get the ball out of Brandon's hands, run the offense, get us into what we want.
Good pass from Mason. Selden. What a move. And Selden comes down hurting. And now they blow the whistle behind the play. The officials stop action. Man, on both sides. Too many guys have gone down.
What a play by Selden. Look at the athletic move there. And you see he just rolls that right ankle.
Yeah, tremendous move, but that hurt. So already no Alexander, no Ellis.
And he comes down right on his teammate's foot, on Jamari Traylor's foot there.
It's late in the season, and these teams are just going after one another. So West Virginia being called back on the floor. It's not a timeout. West Virginia does have the ball. And Jayshawn Page still holding that muscle after he crashed into the scorer's table.
Well, we've had Page, Devin Williams is shaken up, Perry Ellis is out, and now Wayne Selden with the ankle.
That's just since the game started. Devon Carter, who still has not scored. Holton up top three is good. Big shot for Jonathan Holton.
Holton's numbers don't tell the whole story about what a good shooter he is. In the junior college level, he was a 40% three-point shooter. He's only 20% this year, but you give him enough time and space, he can knock it down as he did there.
Traylor, aggressive move with the foul.
Jamari Traylor, when he's gotten the ball in the second half, he's faced up to the basket. He's made some nice plays. He's dove to the rim. Nice pass by Devontae Graham, and then Jamari Traylor with the quick first step and the explosion, and goes through the contact for the foul.
Well, Wayne Selden was feeling good enough, spry enough to high-five his teammates. Meanwhile, still not comfortable here at Allen Fieldhouse for the Kansas fans.
I think this young man knows what's on the line here. An outright Big 12 title for the Jayhawks.
We've already clinched a share. Free throw, no good. And Devin Williams just backed into the game, grabs the rebound and was pushed. Wayne Selden, he was high-fiving his teammates, but now he goes back to the locker room. It's a war of attrition tonight. Good news for West Virginia. Page is back in the game. Javon Carter, 3 fouls, no points. Carter goes to the bench.
Javon Carter coming off really maybe his best game as a Mountaineer. Had 25 points on Saturday at Baylor. Hit 7 for 13 from beyond the arc.
Played great in the win against the Jayhawks a couple weeks ago in Morgantown. Page. Gets the ball back from Miles, goes right by Green and finds Holton. Another three from him and another make from Jonathan Holton.
Mickelson had to help, as Mickelson is a shot blocker. He gets sucked in all the way to the paint. Anytime you give up middle drive, it brings the defense to you. And Jonathan Holton, 2 threes in a row.
Green open. Can Kansas hit one? Still no.
Green is not holding his follow-through. It's what I would say he's quick shooting it. So he's putting his arm, when he's releasing, he's bringing his arm back down too fast, and he's not finishing his shot.
0 for 11, the Jayhawks from the outside. Here's Page, blocked by Green. Devontae Graham, not a great pass, and another scramble for it. Team's fighting for the ball. It'll be a jump ball, and the Mountaineers will have it. So the players laying it all on the line tonight, and so are these legendary head coaches. Bob?
Defensive end, top 5 in the nation, I believe, in field goal percentage defense. The Baylor Bears and Scott Drew. That zone defense, very hard to guard. They shoot the ball well from the 3. Torian Prince is one of the best 6 men in all of college basketball, and they have a beast down low, and Rico Gathers, the leading rebounder in all of college.
And the Mountaineers, nobody wants to see West Virginia show up. Williams, did he push off? A whistle and a foul against Kansas. So the Jayhawks commit the personal on the floor. Mickelson, his second foul. Again, for West Virginia, no Staten, no Brown from the start of the game. For Kansas, Cliff Alexander is still sitting out this game with possible eligibility concerns. Not a great inbound play. Perry Ellis hurt late in the first half. We haven't seen him. Wayne Selden just came back from the locker room, and it looks like Wayne is going to check in the game. So that's a bit of good news for the Jayhawks, who are beat up.
And with all these injuries and Alexander being out, it's really unique lineups that Bill Self's having to employ. Probably guys that haven't really played together much, whether it's even in practice and definitely not in game time.
Frank Mason on the attack, draws the foul. Well, Mason will go to the free throw line, and here comes, I guess he was just getting, he is going to come in the game. This is what happened just a couple moments ago.
Yeah, he makes the nice hard drive, and then Jamari Traylor was coming in to try to get an offensive glass, go to the offensive glass, and Selden comes right down on the top of Traylor's foot and rolls that ankle, and I think he just went back to the locker room and probably got a brand new tape job.
2 free throws for Mason. Makes the first. Lead is at 10 with 10 minutes to go. Now Devin Williams limping toward the bench. My goodness. These teams are beating each other up. Both hands, thumbs, whatever for Williams. Now he's limping. One more for Mason. He made them both, and now Selden does come back in the game. Not quite the same kind of full court pressure Kansas using that West Virginia likes to use. I think they have done a good job of forcing West Virginia to take time off the shot clock.
Well, the defense has been much better in the second half. You see passes, especially into the post, have been much more difficult to complete. But I think most importantly, they've only given up one offensive rebound in over 10 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, that's huge.
In the second half.
That was the story of the first half. West Virginia had 14 of them. Now Graham is fouled going to the basket. 6 team fouls against the Mountaineers. But they're going to call that a shooting foul. So Graham at the free throw line to shoot 2. Phillip called for his second personal.
Devontae Graham has been a great pickup for Bill Self. They signed him in the spring, a young man that had originally committed to play for Appalachian State. Couldn't get out of his letter of intent.
A bad miss on the first one. Well, look at that. So we've got a surprise here. That one certainly is a surprise. Georgia's a good team.
They are a good team.
But 9 right about the same exact spot in the game. Kentucky's in trouble tonight.
They played Kentucky well the first time in Rupp Arena without their leading scorer and rebounder. And you see tonight there's a blackout in Athens, and they're giving them all that they can handle.
8-point lead for West Virginia with the ball. Page goes right by Green, switch to the left hand and still missed the shot. And then a foul called against the Mountaineers, against Page. And I think that's number 4 against him.
And if you're Page, you just kind of complicated the situation. Remember earlier in the half, he probably got away with one on Landon Lucas when he tried to reach from behind. But there, if you're Jayhawks Page, you have to know you have 3 fouls. You just missed a layup. Get back on defense. Get locked in on that end of the floor. And you have to recognize that Kansas is in a 1-and-1 situation, and now you're giving them a chance to score without any time coming off the clock.
1-and-1 free throws. Mickelson makes the first. What a night for Hunter Mickelson.
You know, you love to see guys when they get their opportunity to be ready and make the most of it. Mickelson hasn't gotten a ton of minutes this year as he transferred from Arkansas, sat out, redshirted last year. But he's the one that gave him energy and effort in the first half.
West Virginia is going to really be tested.
This is where they missed their 2 senior leaders, Gary Brown and Jawan Staten.
Mickelson, great hustle. The ball goes out. Now they got a foul. So one official was saying out of bounds, another official saying foul, and they're calling it against Mickelson. And Kansas fans still haven't really I realized what they just called.
Well, Mickelson with a nice denial right there. I don't see the foul. Where Mickelson could have committed a foul there, he clearly deflected the basketball, and then there was no contact as he was diving to keep the ball alive.
Now another deflection. Everything difficult for West Virginia right now. Carter still hasn't scored. Shot clock down to 10. Phillip trying to find Holton. Kansas has the ball. Bad pass from Graham.
And he didn't need it. He was trying to find Brandon Green. Obviously, he was sprinting the lane, but just too much air on the pass.
Well, off turnovers have been huge for the Jayhawks because it's not easy when you run your regular offense against West Virginia.
And that's usually a staple that West Virginia utilizes in every game. 29% of their points come off of turnovers, but they haven't been able to convert tonight.
Tariq Phillip bringing the ball up. He's sort of limping around. He's got some sort of leg problem. Ron Carter picked up his dribble. Here's Miles for three. Good.
Tough shot. Excellent use of the pick and roll by Miles. He comes off tight to his guy. Brandon Green couldn't get back in front in enough time, and Miles knocks it down.
New career high for him. That's his first bucket, first points, though, of the second half.
Zone defense by the Mountaineers.
Green passed up the three, had it knocked away out of bounds. Kansas will keep it, but Daxter Miles in West Virginia with a big shot, back up by 9.
Daxter Miles, the freshman, coming up huge. In Fog Allen, the step back, knocked down.
Chris Cotter with an update on that Georgia-Kentucky game over on ESPN. Look at J.J. Frazier. That's from Watkinsville, Georgia. Buries the three. Crowd at Stegman going bananas. They had a 9-point lead, but here comes Kentucky. You think Coach Cal's going to shorten that bench? How about Marcus Lee with the alley-oop right here? So now it's just a 2-point game. Georgia on top still over on ESPN. Dave?
NBA talent in that game, Chris. NBA talent in our game here. NBA Wednesday presented by State Farm. 8 Eastern, Lakers Heat tomorrow night. And then the Trailblazers and the Clippers. Good one out west at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. Well, what a story that would be in Athens, Georgia. But this would also be huge. Kansas has not lost at home all year. They have not lost in 31 consecutive home finales going back to the early 1980s. And West Virginia is giving them everything they could want here tonight. Mountaineers lead by 9. And West Virginia still has some hopes of sharing this Big 12 conference title. Frank Mason heaves one up. Rebound Macon had it poked away. Holton tracks down the loose ball.
Jayhawks now 0 for 12 from behind the arc. They've only made 1 3 in their last 2 games.
Out of bounds. Another Kansas deflection. The defense has been a lot better for the Jayhawks in the second half.
It's been phenomenal in the second half. If they would have brought this type of energy in the first half, it would be obviously a totally different basketball game. But a lot of credit to West Virginia. They came out with a lot of fight and a lot of toughness and have still been able to maintain the lead.
Both teams playing short-handed. No Perry Ellis, hurt his knee in the first half. We haven't even seen him on the bench in the second. No Cliff Alexander again tonight. Now a foul. Mickelson playing post defense. Commits the personal. That's his 4th. A couple of them here in just the last couple of minutes. So I think he's going to come out of the game. And it seems very strange to say it, Miles, but they lose something without Hunter Mickelson.
They do, and this Jayhawk crowd recognizes it. Mickelson's been good on the defensive end in the first half. He was active and got his 6 of his 8 points.
New shot clock for the Mountaineers. Miles slow to get up after he got knocked to the floor.
There's really been a lack of ball movement by the Mountaineers. A lot of dribbling, a lot of standing around.
Nice look. Holton, who's hit 2 threes. Not that time. And now we'll see if Mason takes it all the way. Traylor fouled. Well, trying to get more offense from Jamari Traylor, and part of the reason is Perry Ellis is not in this game. Ellis has been so spectacular. And here's what happened in the final couple minutes of the first half. Ellis, number 34, and his teammate Lucas sort of lands awkwardly on that right. They had a lot of pressure on the knee. He got up. He sort of limped his way off the court, went back to the locker room. But, Miles, we have not even seen him for warm-ups on the bench in the second half.
Yeah, we know what a vital cog he is to this team. He's the potential Big 12 player of the year with how he's been playing, especially over the last month. Probably it's a race down to 2 guys, him and Buddy Hield. But you just hope and pray for the best for Perry Ellis, one of the classiest young men in all of college basketball.
Jamari Traylor makes the front end of the 1-and-1, and there is Cliff Alexander, who is not even in uniform tonight. Second straight game he's missing because of a potential NCAA eligibility issue. that they're investigating. So just to be cautious, he's not playing. Both free throws good. The injuries, the foul trouble is piled up. Page, Adrian each have 4. Mickelson's got 4 for the Jayhawks.
There's better ball movement. It's went side to side now 3 times. Their 5-out motion, hard cutting. Kansas did a good job of staying solid.
Here's Carter. Page back to Carter. A long, long 3. And the long rebound is going to go to Javon Carter. And he'll try again. In and out, no good. Now a foul against Kansas, I think. So the Mountaineers had position underneath. That'll be against Lucas. And now West Virginia is in the bonus.
Well, after only giving up 1 offensive rebound in the first 14 minutes of this half, they give up 2 in about 10 seconds, and it's going to send Devin Williams to the foul line where he's only 67% on the season.
This is the first even attempt at the line in the second half for West Virginia. He made some clutch ones last week, home win against Texas. Williams was sort of the guy they targeted and sent to the line. The right thumb still wrapped up. Makes them both big free throws for the big man.
Well, anytime that this Fog Allen Fieldhouse crowd has gotten into the game, it seems West Virginia has had an answer. And they're staying in that zone. Little 1-1-3.
Selden slow to get back up. He's still really favoring his right ankle. He's just limping around out there. Selden, Gimpy, no good.
Bob Huggins almost went to the same strategy that he went against Texas last week. Pressed all the first half as Page missed air balls to 3.
Oubre in the open court with the foul.
What a play by Kelly Oubre to fight off the West Virginia defender or Devin Williams there, and then a little bit of body contact from Page. Draws the contact there. He's bringing that basketball up with his weak hand and then goes to his dominant hand for the soft touch off the glass.
Page comes out. Tariq Phillip back in. Oubre's the first Jayhawks player in double figures scoring tonight. He's got 11 with a free throw coming. Chance to cut it to 6. He does. West Virginia is led by as many as 18 in this game. Now a foul against Oubre. Not a great foul for the freshman. His 4th personal, and it means free throws for the Mountaineers when there was another possession where there just wasn't much going on.
You know what, though, Dave? Off that play that Oubre made, he got bumped right in front of us by Jaysean Page, and they didn't call it. And I know they gave him the foul at the basket, but you have to see a little bit more consistency from the officials because it wasn't called there, and I know they called it on Oubre, but they got to make the same type of call every time that they see it.
Phillip short, and a lane violation by Oubre. So Phillip will get another try at the front end.
You know what, the West Virginia bench spotted it right away, and they were pointing it out to the officials.
And the official pointed at Oubre. I think it was actually Selden who did it. But either way, it was a violation. Phillip comes up short 2 times in a row.
They might have to get Selden out of this game because I don't know how much of a factor he can be. I don't think he can put it on the floor. He can probably spot up, shoot, but he's a little bit too gimpy on that ankle, not able to really push off.
Trailer to the basket, blocked, and the loose ball. West Virginia has it.
They might have to go with the freshman Devontae Graham.
Selden's limping, Phillips limping, Devin Williams just limped his way up the court. Who's going to be left at the end of this game?
And if you're West Virginia, you almost think you try to recognize that and get the ball to Daxter Miles and let him try to go at Selden.
Carter out to Phillip. The two-point jumper is good.
Smart. Frank Mason, bad closeout. Jumps on the pump fake, and Phillip takes what the defense gives him and knocks down the mid-range shot.
Well, Phillip now has joined Miles. It's been a career-high night for him. He's got 13. That was a big bucket for West Virginia. Bill Self calls it on state without Gary Brown. Their two senior guards take a seat in their sweats back on the bench. And West Virginia is 3 minutes, 34 seconds away from what would be an enormous and really shocking win on the road.
What a huge win, and especially even for their NCAA seeding. With probably they're on the 6 line right now, they could bump up to maybe as high as a 5 or a 4 if you get a true road victory against the Kansas Jayhawks without your best player in Juwan Staten.
And they still have a chance to share a Big 12 title, West Virginia, if they win this game. Oklahoma would have a chance to share one if they could beat Kansas on Saturday if this score holds up. That was a good look for Mason, but he missed it.
And you see Oubre went to the bench, and they brought in Brandon Green because Oubre gave up that middle penetration on the last possession.
West Virginia is, I think, happy to be very conservative on offense. Miles attacking off the dribble, though. The tip up by Adrian, and here comes Kansas.
Good job in transition defense.
Green just a little reluctant to pull the trigger. The fans want him to shoot the ball.
But Green's being smart. He wants to get a good shot, and the right one will come.
How about that one? Couldn't get the friendly roll. Rebound. Trailer just flung it up. Lucas tried to save it in, but he couldn't do it. A great effort by Lucas, but West Virginia will have the ball when we come back. Kansas is in trouble. The Mountaineers looking to pull off the shocker. Desperate to help the Jayhawks against a team that has given Kansas a lot of trouble, and then some. It was just a couple weeks ago. What a play by Juwan Staten, coast to coast for the bucket to put the Mountaineers ahead. Perry Ellis had a great look, couldn't get it to go. The court storm, and the Mountaineers beat Kansas. Now tonight, no Staten, no Gary Brown, and West Virginia is trying to do something that no Big 12 team has done with Big Bill Self as the head coach here. That is sweep the regular season in conference play. Nobody's done it against Kansas in 12 years. And the Mountaineers are 2:25 away from doing so.
Dave, and I talked about this in the first half. Kansas has finally gone small. Oubre and Brandon Green at the forward positions. So they put some more pressure now, trapping. Selden may be kind of the weak link out there just because he's not able to move as fluidly as he would want to.
Well, West Virginia is content to play keep away and just let some time tick off.
Time and score on their side.
Shot clock now winding down. Here's Carter right by Selden. Carter had it blocked. What a recovery by Selden, but West Virginia, now the shot clock didn't reset, so the heave-ho, and West Virginia, they're calling a foul against the Mountaineers. I thought West Virginia had the ball securely, and Bob Huggins cannot believe it. Fourth foul is going to be called against Daxter Miles. Kansas is in the double bonus, so that's great news for the Jayhawks.
I'll tell you one thing. Wayne Selden made a heck of a play to block that ball after he got beat off the drive. Tariq Phillip with the heads-up play to get that ball up on the rim and give West Virginia a chance for the offensive rebound. But now Brandon Green, the best free throw shooter on this Kansas team, going to the line. This young man, 40 for 44, 91% on the season.
So Green, who is just about automatic, and it's the double bonus. Makes the first. I mean, you do wonder at some point, do the Jayhawks have to think about fouls? 1:55 to go. College basketball live, and a lot to talk about when we're finished here in Lawrence. Now Graham comes in. Green comes out. Timeout, West Virginia. Now, after the play, Williams and Selden sort of got into it. Selden went sprawling. Williams went flying. Nobody called any sort of foul on that play. Both guys were unhappy. You can see it coming right toward the camera. So no harm, no foul called.
Well, Selden was really trying to sell that. He kind of got locked in on Devin Williams' arm as Williams was trying to back him down.
This Big 12, it's sort of been fitting how this game is going.
But the Jayhawks still have some life into them. Down 2 possessions with 1:55 to go.
Mountaineers have 2 timeouts. Jayhawks have 1. The freshman Miles is the inbounder.
Watch for a home run pass.
And they threw it to nobody. There's nobody there.
But you know what? Phillip was supposed to go. He felt he was held and thought he was going to get the call. But it was perfectly executed by West Virginia. It was probably going to be open. But Phillip didn't break for the ball.
Man, what a moment that is. Well, Kansas gets the ball underneath the basket, but most importantly, no time ticks off. And they're down 6. It's a 2-possession game. Phillips coming out of the game. So something just went horribly wrong there out of the timeout. Now Bill Self is unhappy. I mean, he's arguing that West Virginia can't make that substitution.
Well, also Kansas can't make a no time went off the clock after the timeout. At least 1/10 of a second has to go off the clock.
So Green stays at the scorer's table. Adrian is allowed to come in the game. And there's a piece of a cheerleader's pom-pom on the court. So clean that up. My goodness, what a moment that was. Oubre with 4 fouls back in. Jamari Traylor down the lane off the glass. 4-point game. Well, it almost looked like Kansas was trying to foul. Now they're trying to trap, and Bill Self is screaming at his team, don't foul. Here's Carter. Holton. He traveled.
Good defensive possession there from the Jayhawks. Oubre did an excellent job of containing. Bill Self was calling for the trap off of Holton, so they forced the pass to Holton, who's uncomfortable, a little bit uncomfortable handling that basketball.
And Bob Huggins is about to explode. 4-point game. Senior night. 1 minute to go. Green 3. No good, but Traylor hustles and grabs the offensive rebound. Kansas is 0 for 15 from 3, and they've got a chance to win the game. It's down to 2. Bob Huggins. Well, I don't know who called the timeout. Maybe Kansas. And Bob Huggins has got to be careful. You can't get a technical foul here no matter how upset you are. Wow.
Jamari Traylor, what a difference he's made in the second half. He's gotten all the minutes with Perry Ellis out, but he's been a force. He's been ultra aggressive. And then Frank Mason with the penetration, the floater off the glass over 2 Mountaineer defenders. And the Jayhawks.
Virginia still has the lead, and they have the ball.
Now, if you're the Jayhawks, you can play this possession out. You're down 2. 11.4 second differential between shot and game clock. And also you have to realize West Virginia, one of the worst foul shooting teams in the conference.
Well, a foul here, and that Bill Self did not want that. Now it is Devin Williams, who's not a great free throw shooter, although he's been pretty good in this game. 4 out of 6, and he's made some big free throws in big moments for the Mountaineers this year. But it's still a 1-and-1. No good, but the long rebound tracked down by Carter. And West Virginia will try to keep the ball away from the Jayhawks. There's only a 5-second difference, and I think Kansas now does have to foul. So what an offensive rebound on the long free throw miss. Frank Mason knows that was huge.
Well, it was the job of the guard, Frank Mason in this case, to block out the West Virginia player that was outside of the three-point arc on the long rebound. Frank Mason just stood and watched. He was not active.
And it's double bonus time, so that's big news for the Mountaineers. Wow. I mean, Javon Carter still has not scored in this game. So this one obviously is enormous. The shot clock is off now. He made the second.
Make or miss. Now you're down 3. You try to attack early. Give yourself a chance to get to the rim. Maybe draw a foul. Don't need the 3 off a pull-up. Only off a kick-out.
Mason down the lane. Mason scores. Bill Self will use his final timeout. I think that was well executed, just what you were talking about.
Yeah, I like the fact that Green didn't try to force up a deep 3. Frank Mason gets the ball back on his hands. He's the best penetrator on this team. Gets a straight line drive. Green wanted to shoot it, but he's about 5 or 6 feet. The good change of direction. Mason protects that basketball. West Virginia did not want to foul right there. Beautiful execution by the Jayhawks to cut it to 1.
Well, Kansas fans have not given up hope. West Virginia has been in control of this game almost the whole way. What a game.
So now if you're the Jayhawks with 20 seconds left in the game, you can play for a trap or 2 in the backcourt. And I'm sure on the bench, Bill Self and Norm Roberts, who had the scout for this game, has let the team know who are the poorest foul shooters for the Mountaineers.
They get it into Carter. And Carter will be fouled by Oubre. Now that's going to be number 5 against Oubre. Just something to keep in mind. May not impact the final 18 seconds if the game were to go to overtime. And you put Carter, who I think, even though he missed 1 of 2 last time at the line, he's their best free throw shooter.
But I don't like the fact that Oubre fouled Carter, who's their best foul shooter at 80%. Didn't allow for any type of trap to come to force a pass and maybe try to get a turnover. And it was a lazy.
Take an extra couple seconds, spring a trap, maybe you get a turnover. Instead, it was that immediate, just sort of, as you described it, lazy reach for foul number 5. These will not be easy. 2 free throws coming for the freshman. He missed the first. They're 1 for their last 5 at the line. Now remember, Kansas is 0 for 15 from three-point range. But they're not going to need a 3 to at least extend this game, no matter what happens on this one. Carter gets the second one, so that is big. Here comes Graham.
Watch for the dribble handoff here.
He tried to do it, and he gets fouled. Phillip reached in and fouled him. So now Kansas's freshman Graham with 2 free throws. If he makes them both, the game is tied.
And Phillip, they did their job. They stopped the initial action. They weren't going to be able to get the handoff. He gets his hand caught in there reaching across the arm and sends the freshman Devontae Graham to the line.
So big time pressure for the kid. Kansas out of timeouts. West Virginia does have one remaining. They have scratched and clawed and fought to get this close.
If he makes this free throw, Dave, watch for Javon Carter to have the basketball. And a lot of times it's the second shot that wins the game.
He made it. Tie game.
West Virginia, the best offensive rebounding team in the country.
6-6 the last time this game was tied. Here we go. Carter, three, no good. Adrian, and a block. And this game will go to overtime. Well, he did shoot it early. He did give his team a chance for a putback. It just couldn't go.
Well, here's the guy they wanted to have the ball, Javon Carter. Kansas in good defensive position. They set the on ball. He settles for the pull-up. The offensive rebound by Nathan Adrian, and Landon Lucas comes up with the biggest block of his career. You see four guys to the offensive glass. Good job by Landon Lucas as he even falls down flat on his back, and the Jayhawks somehow able to come back and get this game into overtime.
Wow. 1983, that's the last time.
On a bad ankle. Jamari Traylor has looked like a new player. Heck of a ball game because West Virginia really dominated in the first half, and they were the more physical team, got the huge lead. But man, this has been a fun one.
And there is no place like this one. So 5 more minutes at least with an outright title for the Jayhawks on the line. Championship hopes still alive for West Virginia, for Oklahoma, for Iowa State. Javon Carter got trapped but gets away from the swarm. Carter is 0 for 9 from the field, has 2 free throws. That's his offense. Williams, meanwhile, draws a foul.
Remember, they got that play early in the first half against Jamari Traylor. Isolated Devin Williams at the high post. He was able to score against Traylor. Pretty good defense there by the Jayhawks. I think they get the Jayhawk defender for coming down on the top of Williams' arm.
That's the 4th on Jamari Traylor. Very calmly, Devin Williams makes a big free throw. West Virginia, if they made their free throws down the stretch, they wouldn't be in overtime. One out of 2 for Williams.
I want to see Frank Mason with the ball. He's been the maestro, the catalyst for this team.
Graham to the basket, and Kansas has the lead. The last time they led, it was 6-4. Miles, open three. West Virginia grabs it right back.
What plays by 3 freshmen. Devontae Graham with the great drive, and then Carter to Miles, freshman to freshman on the drive and kick.
Well, you have to appreciate both teams. No State, no Brown for the Mountaineers. Perry Ellis has missed the second half with a knee problem. Cliff Alexander sitting out again tonight. Here's Traylor from inside the lane. Just kind of bricked it. Gets his own miss. Now gets closer. It's a blocking foul. And count the basket.
Jamari Traylor coming up big. The basketball tipped back out. Traylor attacks, takes the contact from Devin Williams, and going back to the foul line to give the Jayhawks the lead.
Well, those injured and potentially ineligible players, Alexander with the eligibility problem, Ellis with the injury, they have needed everything from Traylor. And he completes the three-point play, so the Jayhawks back up by one. Holton open from the corner. Couldn't get the friendly roll. And a whistle. They're going to call a foul against the Mountaineers. Well, again, if you missed it, Perry Ellis, right near the end of the first half, Bob Huggins has been fuming most of the second half with the whistles. But Perry Ellis, who's played like the Conference Player of the Year the last month or so, you see right at the end of that play, his teammate Lucas landed on the side of his right knee. Ellis sort of limped his way to the locker. We have not seen him after halftime. Not for warm-ups, not on the bench, nothing. And we've asked several times. Kansas has just not given us any sort of update.
Right here, this could be a case of where they're checking to see who the shooter's going to be. Plenty of Jayhawks were in the lane right there, getting the block out situation.
So that is what they're checking. We'll see if we can tell ourselves who was fouled. They called the foul on Devin Williams. Well, I guess you could put either Mason or Lucas at the line.
Well, Devin Williams was on the back of Landon Lucas, and I don't know if that was much of a foul there. We've seen more physical plays, but it should be Landon Lucas probably at the line.
And so that's what they've decided. Lucas, Mickelson, Traylor, not the big men you're used to hearing from the Jayhawks, but all three of those guys have played a big part in this comeback to get Kansas to overtime. 3 minutes, 23 seconds away from an outright Big 12 title. Lucas misses the first. Both teams in double bonus, and they have been for a while. West Virginia led by as many as 18 in this game. Lucas made one of two. Carter, foul. That was before the shot block. A pushing foul. So Carter's going to shoot 2 free throws. They call that one against Devontae Graham. Well, it's been such an unusual game for Carter, who played huge on Saturday in Waco.
Now, Carter is the point guard of the future, obviously, going forward when Juwan Staten leaves the program after this year. And I think Bob Huggins is putting his team in capable hands with Carter. I've been very impressed by him over the course of the Big 12 season.
He missed 2 free throws near the end of regulation. He makes 2 there to tie the game up again. College basketball live when we're done. Lots to talk about on another wild night in college hoops. Kentucky surviving, Kansas trying to survive. In the backcourt, now they got to get it across. Dangerous pass, they did. Traylor!
What a play. Wayne Selden doesn't come down with the ball, and Jamari Traylor has been a man in the second half. Over 2 Mountaineer defenders, throwing it down with tremendous force. Where has this Jamari Traylor been all season long?
Traylor's free throw is no good, and Adrian grabs a rebound. So no three-point play this time. Kansas's lead is 2. Traylor has 13 points, all of them after halftime. So second half and overtime for Traylor.
Huggins trying to bark out instructions, but his players can barely hear him.
They got Williams on the low block. Devin Williams starting to make his move. Offensive foul. And that will be number 5 against Devin Williams.
Well, he goes to his patented back down move right there. You see him drop the shoulder, a little bit of the arm extension. That's a good job by Landon Lucas of almost knowing scouting report that Devin Williams likes to go to the middle first and maybe drop step back to a right-hand jump hook over the left shoulder.
Well, if you're in the lip reading, Williams let you know how he felt about that call. So he's done. Now the pressure. Mason trapped, pinned, and somehow got the ball to Selden. He rolled an ankle himself in this game. He's been gimpy most of the way. They're feeding Traylor now. Graham, shot fake on the 3. Shot partially blocked, rebound, and Traylor's going back to the line.
Haven't seen Jabari Traylor play like this at all this year, really in the Big 12. What a huge lift and spark. As he comes out of nowhere, Landon Lucas keeps the basketball alive.
That's number 5 against Nathan Adrian, so he sits down. No Staten, no Brown there hurt. No Williams, no Adrian. They fouled out. Just an all-out battle here in the Big 12 tonight. Traylor had to wipe some sweat.
These are important free throws for Traylor because all in all, it's still a 2-point game no matter how many big plays that he's made, offensive rebounds. He needs to get this to a 2-possession game.
I missed that first one. At some point on both sides, it's just what's left in the tank.
He's got to get a little bit more arc on his shot, get it a little bit softer.
He made that second one, so it's a 3-point lead for the Jayhawks, and that's their biggest lead of the game. Still plenty of time for the Mountaineers. 2 minutes plus to go. And Mason steals the ball away. Mason blocked by Carter. What a play by Javon Carter.
What a play. Great hustle by the freshman. Javon Carter showing elite athleticism and timing right there.
Tremendous. So now Carter with the ball on the offensive end. A minute 35 to go. Daxter Miles has had a career night. Draws a foul.
This freshman backcourt of West Virginia. Wow, they've been tremendous. Look at the steal. Great play by Mason right there. The anticipation, but you love that Carter doesn't give up on the play. He tracks it down. No quit in this Mountaineer team. I mean, he could have surrendered that layup, maybe not wanting to foul. The place would have exploded if Mason scores that basket. But Javon Carter with the all-out hustle and effort.
We have had so many highlight moments in this game to go along with all the drama, with what's at stake. And now Miles has had a tremendous game, but is not a good free throw shooter. For the year, he's 49%. Well, this one gets even a little tougher. He makes that one, so that's a big free throw. Lead back to 2 for the Jayhawks. And West Virginia sets up that press. Selden just did get the ball in bounds. Now Graham is trapped. Now Lucas was open, but Lucas, the big man, Mason kept it himself. Mason goes all the way. Here come the Mountaineers. Page almost lost the ball. Elijah Macon had it stripped away. Lucas comes away with the ball. Mason dribbled it off his leg out of bounds, and wow. Now they say Kansas ball. I thought Mason dribbled it right off his leg.
He lost the ball behind his back, but I think it went off a West Virginia player's leg. Now they can go to the monitor and review this as they should. But you see Mason right there. He starts to lose control. Yeah, and that's going to end up being off Daxter Miles' leg.
Yep, you're right. It was off the ankle of Miles, not off Mason right there. And it didn't touch Mason. They can review it. Under 2 minutes in regulation, under 2 minutes in overtime. They will review it and they'll confirm that call.
But let's go back to the previous layup by Frank Mason. And let me tell you why that was a smart play. Landon Lucas was ahead of him at half court, who was going to have a free run to the basket. But Landon Lucas would have had to dribble about 3 or 4 times. And the West Virginia players probably would have tracked down Landon Lucas. Maybe it made him a little bit uncomfortable with the basketball. Frank Mason did a smart thing, kept the ball in his hands. He's the best ball handler, one of the best free throw shooters, navigated the defense and got all the way to the rim for the finish.
Well, I don't know if that's any sort of news, but in the paint. Now West Virginia down 4. Do the Mountaineers have to foul? Do they think about fouling?
No, you can play this possession out. You got to play smart. Try not to put him on the line. Get a stop here, and then try to get a quick score.
Well, this is as big a lead as Kansas has had, 4 in overtime. Mason trying to get it in, and that a dangerous pass. Graham with the great catch. Now West Virginia is not fouling. Carter right on top of Mason. Under a minute to go. Shot clock down 15. And Bill Self wants Mason to use some of that clock. Again to the bucket. Draws a foul. They're going to call that one. Well, and Miles is arguing with the officials. I think the public address announcer thought it was against Miles, but it's against Macon, which is his first foul. So that's a big difference. So I don't know what we're doing here now. I guess we're going to clarify this.
Yeah, if anybody, that foul's on Macon.
Yeah, I think that's what they called it.
Shouldn't be a timeout here. Should
the public address announcer announced it was on Miles, which would have been number 5. Miles then sort of started having a fit. But they ended team now for the final 44 seconds. But so are the Jayhawks. What a night in Lawrence, Kansas. After all that, Mason at the line to shoot 2. Dave Fleming, Miles Simon. When we are done, College Basketball Live will follow. And they'll break down this game. They'll talk about Kentucky escaping a real test on the road in Athens, Georgia. Frank Mason's been huge. West Virginia's got to hurry now. Carter kicks it back to Daxter Miles. His 3 is good. And this game is not over. Timeout, Mountaineers. 31 seconds to go. It's back to a 3-point game. Daxter Miles has 23.
What a play. These guys are not fazed by the atmosphere, the excellent drive, the kick, and Daxter Miles has it down to a 1-possession game.
So a timeout for us. Stick with us, though. The dramatic finish from Allen Fieldhouse when we come back.
So put them hands up higher. Let's smash this party up.
Us tonight, down 18, where it's so tough to beat the Jayhawks. Proof of that here in this one. 9 losses in 12 years at home for Bill Self and company. Trying to keep that amazing number intact. And if they win this game, they are outright Big 12 champions, 11 rings in a row.
And I've been thoroughly impressed by both teams tonight. The way West Virginia came out with a ton of fight and toughness. without two of their best players, their senior leaders, and the way Kansas, who a team people doubted and probably thought was a little bit soft this year, to come back the way they have in the second half against a Mountaineer team that's tough and physical.
At some point, Kansas uses a timeout. Now, West Virginia, I think they played that the way they wanted to. The shot clock is off, so at some point they are going to have to foul if they can't come up with a turnover. But enough time, Miles, where they nearly got that turnover without committing the quick foul.
They did do a good job right there. They played into the press. Jayhawks might have been anticipating that a foul was going to come. Have to use their last timeout. And now watch this. They can put Jonathan Holton on this basketball. They forced a 5-second violation early in this game. And Holton is one of the best at getting deflections. And then maybe they can go back into their trap situation right off this sideline out of bounds.
I don't think there's anyone in the country like number one guarding the inbound passer. So you're going to see that right here. West Virginia is going to make it as tough as possible. Jayhawks do have the possession arrow in their favor, up 3, 21.7 seconds to go in overtime.
And I think, Bob Huggins, if you are the Mountaineers, you alert your team that if Jamari Traylor touches the ball, that you give it right away. Wow. You can't let it out of Jamari Traylor's hands.
So that may be Elijah Macon's job.
Brandon Green is the guy that Kansas wants to have it.
Here's Holton doing the jumping jacks in front of Wayne Selden, and he does get it into Mason. Now Page has not put the foul on yet, still hasn't done it, and now the foul. If you're going to do that, you might as well foul a couple seconds earlier. That's number 5 against Page.
But I think they wanted to bring the trap once it got into the half-court area, maybe right across half-court.
They just fouled before they really got it there. So now another Mountaineers player is fouled out. West Virginia is going to use this as a pretend timeout. Page out, Williams out, Adrian out. Miles has 4.
This is one rule they need to adjust. A guy fouls out of the game, bring the next guy in. It should be a sub automatically. They don't need, Bob Huggins has coached for 33 years. He doesn't need an extra 30 seconds to find out who he's going to bring in the basketball game. But it's given him a chance to draw up a play here without having to use one of his real timeouts.
It was 16.6 seconds. Look, it's dire straits for West Virginia, but even if Mason makes both free throws, a quick basket, and the game is still very much in doubt. They're trying to clean up Frank Mason, get the shirt tucked in, get everything wiped off.
Well, I think even if he makes both, Javon Carter gets the ball in his hands. You try to penetrate, get all the way to the rim first, and then maybe look for kickouts to Connor or Daxter Miles.
You do appreciate the stamina of Mason, who has dealt with this pressure all night long. He has made 8 out of 9 at the line. That's been really the difference down the stretch, the free throw shooting.
Yeah, it seems like this team really caught a second win. Remember, in the first half, they were all on their knees.
Mason makes them both. So now West Virginia, no matter what they do, they got to hurry. Carter, 3, too strong. Traylor rebound, and no foul. West Virginia is just going to back off, and now a foul.
Huggins was saying no foul. He didn't want it.
Jonathan Huggins is upset. Holton couldn't hear him.
Yeah, Holton
He's still playing.
He's still playing. He's trying to extend the game. Holton wanted to play a little bit more.
And you don't blame him for that.
No.
Now the celebration begins. Amazing.
And West Virginia has no reason to hang their heads. Playing with a depleted roster tonight. They gutted it out. They played tough. This Kansas team showed a ton of grit tonight, playing without Cliff Alexander, without arguably the Big 12 Player of the Year in Perry Ellis as he goes down late in the first half.
I mean, Bill Self is on the bench almost laughing now. It's been a night where you can hardly believe what the Jayhawks have pulled off. Well, the Kansas Jayhawks, in remarkable fashion, have the Big 12 championship to themselves. What a game.
What an effort by both teams. One of the best college basketball games I've seen this year. The comeback, the highs and lows by both teams.
You can see Bill Self, the appreciation for the effort from the Mountaineers. I mean, West Virginia in some ways